Thank you everyone for all the support on the first video. So here's the start for the second video. I got us a new battery, some battery terminals, and I'm gonna make some new cables and whatnot in here and try to get this thing running without all the crazy jump boxes and everything like that. So I went ahead and got us an 8-volt battery from O'Reilly's, and then just some Amazon battery terminals. And then if we actually get down into it, I got a carburetor kit so I can pull that carb off and try to go through it and then start dealing with the fuel system and all that and pull the fuel tank out and whatnot. So I'm gonna go ahead and set this camera in the tripod and start pulling this battery out and hook up the new one. Alright, let me pull this battery out of here. Oh, this cable's breaking already. Get this out of here. We got our new one here. Let's see. Let's go ahead and put it in this way. And then we'll set. I'm gonna hook it up with the original cables for now. So we'll see if it'll fire up. And then I'll make new cables and all that. Okay, so I gotta disconnect the old coil, or not the old coil, but the 12-volt coil that I have here. Pull off the distributor wire here. This new coil here has a metric nuts on it, and the old one had these giant freaking standard 7/16 nuts. But our new one just has 8mm metric nuts. And then the other wire, this one can come off of here. This one right here, the feed from the battery. Put the newer nut on there. Okay. Yeah, you can see pretty much all of these wires need to be replaced. Like there's got bare wire showing here and here. On the distributor side there's bare wire showing. I don't even know what this little capacitor or whatever it is, what it goes to. It's just sitting here disconnected. These battery cables, they're long gone. These ones aren't as bad, but if I'm replacing the positive side, I might as well just do all of them, all the way down to the starter, and then I'll start digging through everything through the engine bay and get it all sorted. Alright, get this coil here plugged back in. And then I need a 1/2 inch for that. Okay, so that can go back on there. This 12-volt one that goes to my Porsche can go back in the parts pile for the Porsche. And then it looks like the feed in here, that's a 9/16. It's nice all these nuts are actually like working now that I've sprayed everything down a million times and gone over it all and actually taken it off and back on before a couple times. Everything's starting to work nicer. But that doesn't mean everything's going to be permanent and going to stay that way. I'll probably end up replacing a lot of this stuff just to make sure it looks better and the peace of mind for driving it. Okay, so I got the power in for the car, and that's all tore up too. So I can put the negative on the battery. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and hit the key and see if it'll crank with the new battery. Yeah, that cranks really well compared to the old 6-volt that was in there. That was dead and had jumper boxes on it. So let me, I'm gonna crack this door over here. Let's give it a little fuel. Probably way too much. And let's see if it'll fire up. Sounds good to me. So I need to try to get a permanent fuel feed to it and see if it'll run off of its own supply so I don't have to keep spraying it. But for now I think that's good. I'm gonna make all these new cables. You know what, I'll pull the carburetor off first, so we'll do that because this at least works for now, and then I'll make cables later. I'll try to get that fuel feed off of there and see what I can do with that. Alright, I'm gonna try to pull these fittings out of this fuel pump here. Cable looks fairly easy. I wouldn't expect the brass fittings to really rust or corrode that bad, but these steel ones might be a different story. Let me grab a different wrench. That came off fairly good. I just ordered a new magnetic, like flexible GoPro mount, so I don't have to keep just using this little clamp that I have, the spring clamp, to clamp the GoPro to everything to try to show what I'm working on. Like right now the camera is clamped to the heater hose just to get a decent view at what I'm doing down here. Let me pull this off. Once I get that magnetic mount, I'll be able to just stick the camera pretty much anywhere on the car or on the lift or whatever I'm doing. 75% of the time I'm around something metal that I can stick it to, so that'll make it nice. And now the camera is clamped onto the hood hinge. Surprised a lot of these fittings are coming off as easy and as smooth as they are. So we got that out of there now. That fuel filter looks brand new. There's hardly any dirt in there at all. Obviously zero fuel in there because of broken fuel lines. And I was getting a closer look at this thing here. It looks to me that this pipe right here goes down to the distributor, but it's hard to believe something this old would have vacuum advance for a 53, but I don't know, it very well could have vacuum advance. It looks like it's a Carter distributor, St. Louis, USA. I've never messed with any of these single barrels, but from what I'm told, it should be very simple and easy to do. But I want to figure out where I need to take it apart from. If I need to take it apart off the base all the way down here, or if I take it off these 4 flathead screws, or if I can just work on it right here and just take off the front plate or the top plate. Because all this linkages here looks pretty tricky. I forgot one fuel line down here at the bottom. I don't know if I need to buy fuel line that's like pre-crimped and has the fittings on the end, or if I could just get these fittings with barb fittings and just run rubber hose. If that would be smart, or maybe just measure it and find the correct length hose I need and just do it that route. I'm gonna look and see if I have any brass fittings that'll fit in there that I can just rig up temporarily to see if I can get the car to run off of a gas can. I don't think these are the right size. These look a lot smaller. But let's see. I mean, it threads in there, but I don't think it's the right style fitting. So this is the one that was in there, and this is the one I have. That looks about the same. I thought it was a flare fitting, but it's not. It's just a regular pipe thread. So I'll go ahead and spin that one in there, and it should be the same on the other side. Actually, the other side has the metal pipe, so I could just use that with rubber hose and then run it up to the carburetor. Let me get this fitting cleaned up a little bit on the threads. Alright, then get some Teflon on there. I prefer to use the purple Teflon for fuel system stuff, but this is all I have right now, so it'll have to do the job. And this is all just going to be temporary, just to get the vehicle running, to see if the carburetor even works or if the fuel pump even works. Because it might need a carburetor, or not a carburetor, it might need the carburetor gone through, or it most definitely does actually, but it might also need a fuel pump. Because who knows why this vehicle was parked. Try to get a flat piece on there. And always try to wrap it the same direction, so when you're threading it in, it doesn't come undone. That'll work there. Okay, let's get these fittings back in here. And I believe those ones are 7/16. If it'll ever get tight. There we go. Let me get the other one over here. And this one's 9/16. Okay. Okay, so I bumped one of the settings on my camera and it was in like time-lapse mode or whatever. But pretty much all I was saying is I got all the fittings cleaned up and put back in, and then cleaned up the pipes a little bit and put them in. And I was saying the pipe is supposed to be just one piece down there with no filter in it. But since it's already cut, we're going to put a filter in it. And we have only about 3 inches of room between the two. And I think all the filters I have are about that long. I don't really want to cut it again. So I'm gonna see if I can fit one in there. If I can, I will. If not, I'll just run a piece of hose. So let me see where my fuel filter is. I know I have some extra ones for the go-karts. There's one right here. But this fuel line looks like it might be way bigger than what's on there. Let's see. I can make that work. So let me pull this rubber piece off. We use these as breathers on the go-karts. See right there on the top of the valve cover. So this is just an extra one I had. So I'll pull this apart and grab some fuel line and throw it on there. Alright, got my clamps and everything. You see how much room I have in here for this. Each piece of the hose to be like 1.5 inches long. Not very long at all. Just one piece. And 2. To make life easier, I always use silicone spray on these hoses. Okay, that'll work there. Get these clamps tight. Got a bunch of random different clamps on here. Just what I had laying around, stuff I could find. Okay. Let me tighten up these 2 fittings up here on the carburetor. And then the one down here. All right. So now I have it from the pump to the carburetor all done. And then I want to just run a hose from the other side up to here. I'll put a little gas can up here with gas in it and see if it'll pull out of there. All right, got a little gas can. It'll fit right here. I'm gonna throw a zip tie around it, just in case the vibration makes it want to fall off or something. I don't want to spill gas everywhere. Almost fits. I can go around right here. There we go. Just extra security so I know it won't fly away. Is this hose long enough to do that? Let's see. Well, this hose is going to have to work because it's the only one I have that's even remotely close to the length. Now I know I need to get some more fuel line. Move this light down here so I can see. Should have done this before putting this can of fuel in my way. But it is what it is. The clamp keeps sliding on me. That'll have to work. Let's see. That's into the fuel at least. But it is close. I definitely need some longer fuel line because it's only a couple inches into the fuel. But it will work for now. We'll try to position this camera so we can see if the fuel is getting pulled up with the fuel pump. We got fuel in there, so the pump's working. Let's see if we can get it to come all the way up to the bowl on the carburetor. Look at that, it just fired up by itself, sucking fuel through the carburetor. It's definitely misfiring, but it did fire up. Yeah, I can see it leaking out the carburetor right here. So luckily I got a gasket set for that, so I can fix that. And maybe these broken plug wires and these old plugs have something to do with the misfire. But I don't want to run it too long without any water in it, so I'm gonna go ahead and pour some water in it so I can fire it up again and just see how it runs for a second. Well, I put some water in it, and it is leaking. I can see it coming, dripping right there, right out the bottom of the water pump. I'm pretty sure that's right out of the weep hole. So, I'll be looking for a water pump for this thing. But at least I got some water in it so I can run it for a second without worrying that it's going to get too hot. Well, it's definitely leaking. We got the fuel leaking up here on the carburetor. It's leaking out of the fuel pump. There's a huge puddle on the ground. The water leaking, hitting the fan and spraying everywhere. Sounds to run good, but on top of all of that, I believe we might need a head gasket because there's rusty water everywhere, sprayed all outside. Hopefully not on my truck, but we'll see. Might be worth it just to pull the head off and do the gasket regardless of if it actually needs it or not. But I'm happy to hear it run at least, so I know the motor's not totally junk. But getting those head bolts off safely might be a challenge, so we'll see. I'm gonna throw this tray under there for the night because I know that water is gonna keep dripping out of there. That should cover it there. And then I'll go ahead and pull this fuel line out of here, just in case it wants to decide to somehow siphon or just keep leaking out of there. I think that'll do it for tonight. I'll probably be out here tomorrow or the next day and tinker around with stuff again, make those battery cables and whatnot, and throw some new plug wires and everything on there. Back on the Plymouth now. I'm gonna make these battery cables, get those all sorted so they're out of the way, and then we'll start addressing other stuff. I got the water pump ordered, a couple of gaskets ordered, spark plugs, plug wires, a bunch of little things like that, so we can get the fuel system and the ignition system all set up and ready to go. So let's get these battery cables knocked out of the way. Alright, let's disconnect this guy here. Disconnect this one. And grab the wrenches. Alright, let's see. That one there is a 9/16. Oh, drop the light. Alright, okay, there's that one. That's our positive side. And then what size is this down here? It's 9/16 as well. We can get a wrench on it. There we go. Get off of there. Okay. And there's our negative. I'm gonna go take those over to the workbench and copy them with some new parts. Well, I thought for sure I had black battery cable, but I only have red, so I'm just gonna make the one positive cable. So I'm just gonna copy the length and just cut it. Right there. Let me strip it back a little bit. This one will work. Let me get a piece of heat shrink on it. Let's see if this is big enough. Yep. Cut that in half. I'm gonna go ahead and put a heat shrink on both ends just to make it look nicer on this end. Okay, that'll work there. And then this one, get the heat shrink on there. Do it again. If I can make it work and use what I already have, that would be the preferred way, so we'll see. Doesn't look too bad. Once I get the heat shrink around it and trunk on there, it should look pretty good. My torch is actually out of gas, so I'm going to use the diesel heater here to heat shrink it real fast. There we go. There's a new end. This is the one I just put on there. The focus doesn't look too bad. It's just weird how it gets skinny right there because I had to crimp it down so far, but it'll work. Let me get the battery terminals open here. And these are just terminals I found on Amazon. I tried to find like the best looking ones I could, and these look pretty good to me and heavy duty, so we'll use these. Alright, I'll get the new terminal on here, and then I'll get the end over here on and just do this end first. Then we'll be able to see where the other one lines up so we can clock the terminal correctly and make it look good. I think the best way would be 180 in this. I try not to be too picky on how stuff looks when I'm working on old stuff like this or just trying to do temporary stuff to get it going, but I tend to try to make everything look as nice and neat as I can no matter what I'm doing. Which isn't a bad thing by any means, it just makes things take longer. Okay, what size is that? That's 5/8. Alright. Electric? Yep. Okay. May be hard to hear me, starting to rain pretty hard, but got this new terminal on there, new cable. I'm gonna wait till I get black cable to do the rest, just so it looks neat and nice. I wanted to do all of it black, but red's all I had for now, so at least I got something done. I might even just remake it again when I get the black wire. Today we're gonna get back on the Plymouth and try to get some work done. I got a bunch of parts that came in. I got the water pump. I already had the carburetor kit. Got the thermostat, radiator cap, spark plugs, the plug wires. Then that's the thermostat gasket. I'm trying to get the car up on the rack so I can get underneath and look at it and see if I can figure out why the clutch doesn't work or the brakes and stuff like that. And then we'll try to tackle the water pump and the cooling system after all that. So I'm gonna try to get this car to scoot over so I can get it on the rack, because it's pretty crooked in here and it is not easy to move by yourself. So I'm gonna set this camera down and see if I can get this car on the rack. Let's see if I can get it to go up just where it's at right now. I think it may be okay. I think that'll work. Let's see what happens here. This car is way lighter than my truck is. This thing picks it up way quicker. There's a lock falling into place. So it seems like it'll be good. Very good. Alright, let's take a look under here. See how bad it is. Definitely a lot of weeds and spider webs and stuff all over it. Everything's pretty greasy, pretty gross. But I don't see any major rot on the frame or any of the suspension components or anything like that. Looks pretty good. Just dirty, needs to be pressure washed. There's the floor's rot right there. That floor is rotted out. Pretty bad right there. There's the carpet. But that's all fixable stuff. I'm just glad it's not the frame or anything like major like that. That's really rotted. A little bit of rot over the master cylinder right there. Some right here on the floors. Back seat starting to rot a little bit. That's a hole. Yeah, this whole floor is super soft. Can't tell if this is like a heat shield or something, or if that's like a patch that somebody else put in or something like that. But it definitely doesn't look like it belongs there. And I'm taking it, that's the parking brake right there. I've never seen that before. Start getting all this stuff cleaned out of here so I can actually see what I'm looking at here. Just a bunch of weeds. Looks like this spring for the parking brake here is broken. You get a new return spring on that. Yeah, there's just stuff everywhere. Go ahead and spray down a bunch of stuff again, because I know I'm going to be working on it and it's do nothing but help me. So hopefully we don't gotta dig into these brake lines too much, but it'd probably help if we just replaced everything. Got some big old dirt daubers on the rear end there. Get the fuel tank drain. Get the front brakes. There's so much crap on this stuff. Cobwebs and spiders and weeds and everything in between all over this car. Let's get the oil changed on this thing. It's got a freaking huge drain plug. It is 1.1 inches. See if I can do this. See if I can do this without making a huge mess. There we go. I was hoping the doors being open would make it so we could see better under here, but that wasn't the case. So just put a light on under here and that'll help a little bit, I guess. Still pretty dark, but trying the best I can to get this light under here for the video. That oil on there is nasty. I did not get a new washer for this thing, so hopefully it'll stay sealed pretty good. I'll probably end up doing another oil change on it anyway, so I'll try to get a new crush washer for then. I don't even have a new filter for it yet. I wasn't able to find an oil filter at any of the freaking parts stores around here. Rock Auto doesn't have one, so I might have to resort to eBay and try to get one coming from there. But I was looking at the parts car and this car, they have different oil filter housings, but they're the exact same year car. So that was kind of confusing. I don't know if one of them has an aftermarket one or what the deal is. Yeah, that oil's nasty. Okay. Drain plug is back on and tight. Throw this back under the radiator. Since it's still leaking out of the water pump. Try to get a good look at our clutch system here. Try to figure out why. I mean, it might be working, but it doesn't feel like the pedal has anything when you pull it. So that's the shifter. It's not the clutch. The shifter, or the clutch, is up here in the front. Now that I'm actually getting a good look at it. All the linkages and all that for the clutch. There's just so much crud on it, I can't really tell what the hell's going on. It's all covered in grease because there's freaking Zerk fittings all over it. So I'm sure someone went to town with a grease gun on everything. It looks like it's all there and it's all connected, so I'm not sure why it doesn't work. Maybe the clutch is just really light. Because when you press the clutch, it feels like there's just no resistance there, like the pedal's just dead. But if it's all mechanical, there should be no reason why it's not working. Unless something's disconnected or actually broken. Yeah, I can see the clutch fork up here. It's all there. It's all still together. Alright, I'm gonna bring the car down and then see if we can get some brake fluid in it. And then crack some bleeders open and see if we can get some fluid going through these brakes and find all of our leaks and see what we got to fix. Well, I can't really get in here very well with the car still on the rack, so I'm gonna have to climb in there and figure out where the brake fluid goes in. There's that. These floors are super soft, really rusty. Okay, let's see if this fits on there. Trying to get this light. Okay. Let's put the best fit I can get. Oh man. Ooh, got it. I'm not really banking on this master cylinder being good, but I'm gonna try it. Looks like it's already full of fluid, but I'm sure it's some nasty fluid. So I'm just gonna top it off till it's full and then go down below and try to pull some fluid through the bleeders, see what happens. All right, let's start on this first one here. See if we can get anything coming out of there. It's coming out. Just let it gravity bleed for a second here. Let me grab my vacuum and pull some fluid out. Slowly pulling some fluid out, not much. We may need to get a second person down here to press the pedal and get these things bled. We had a little bit of fluid coming out, but not anymore. So I have a feeling this rubber hose here has seen better days and it's probably all swollen and clogged up inside there. There's not really a good way to clear it out without just replacing it. Okay, now over here on the passenger side, let's break this one loose. Oh, that one's a different size. Can't be bigger than 3/8, there's no way. There we go. Get that one off of there. This one does not have any fluid coming out of it. Okay, so I can't get any fluid to come out of any of the lines. So I'm just gonna take it off here at the master and see if I can blow air through the lines. Hopefully these lines won't strip on me. See what size they are. Looks like they're both 3/8. Go see if I have a 3/8 line wrench. This one's the rear. Okay, Don't break. That line's just twisting. Yep, that brake line's broken already. Shoot. So it looks like I'll be making a new brake line for that one. All right, let's see if I can just cut these lines out of here. Since they're gonna need new ones anyway. They broke free out of the master, no problem, but they're seized to the line. And I might actually already have some brake lines, so I can make a new brake line for that one. This one actually broke free, didn't break, which is a plus because this one goes up to the front and looks like it'd be a lot more of a pain to route this one. Okay, I got that one off there. Now our brake fluid's draining out of the master cylinder. Go ahead and break free our bleeders up here again. And see if I can put some air through it. Yeah, I'm not getting nothing through that. So I'm sure they're all rusted out and clogged up. So I think I'm gonna have to pull those brake lines off and just make some new ones. Okay, I just went and checked. I do have some brake line. But before we dig into that, I'm gonna try to break free all these fittings on the brake lines and see which ones I can't blow air through and which ones I can. So I'm not replacing everything if I don't need to at the moment. Although it should probably all be done regardless. But I'm just trying to get this thing moving and at least to where I can pull it in and out of the shop under its own power and not have to push it. That way I can switch out and do other projects in between here. And this thing's not just beached on the rack in here. All right, let's see if we can get these brake lines up here to come loose. This one's got so much crud on it, I can't even get the wrench on there. That one came free. Let's see if we can get this one to come free. Yep. That one's free. Last one here. And that one's free. Let me grab an open end wrench so I can get them off easier. One little turn at a time. They're all coming out though. Luckily they're not breaking. Just that one rear brake line on the master broke. Which I might have enough brake line to fix that, but I don't know if I have enough to do all of these. Okay, and that one's free. I need to unbolt that so I can get the block off of the brake line. Don't throw your tools at yourself. Okay, got that one off of there. Now I'm gonna go ahead and see which of these lines I can put air through and which ones I can't. Okay, this one here goes back to the master cylinder. And just sprayed myself in the face, but it works. That was gross. When you go to blow air in your line, make sure it's not just pointing straight at you. So let me see, that one's clear. I just verified that. Blow through this way. Yep, blows through. Now I'm gonna check the other two. Try to blow through this bleeder here. Nothing. Try to get the camera out of the way so if it goes through, it doesn't get sprayed. Try this brake line here. Nothing going through that one. And this one here. I can't really tell on that one. So let me, I'm gonna unbolt the brake lines from the rubber lines up here. Get the rubber line undone up there so we can really see. I have a feeling it's just the rubber lines that are clogged. Okay, let's see if we can get in here. That brake line there is just twisting on me. I think it broke free. Doesn't look like the brake line's twisting on it. Spray some more WD-40 on it. I'm gonna try to get these clips off the top up here. Okay. I'm gonna see if I can blow some air through this line. See if anything comes out of this bleeder over here. I'll just do it real slow so I don't get sprayed in the face again. Yeah, it goes through. So I'm curious of what was actually clogged, because this is blowing through fairly well. So now that that's freed up, let me go try to do the other side real quick. Go. Get our light up here. There we go. Let's see if this one will blow through here. Yep, that one blows out. Okay, now we got both of the front brake lines clear. The rubber lines are clear. I still ordered new ones so I can get them replaced. But I want to try to get this together and get brakes working so I can move the car in and out. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead, put this rubber brake line back up here with the clip. Okay. All right, got that one tight. Let's go over to the other side and do the other one. Let me see with this camera. I'm gonna try to get this brake line started before I put the clip in. Make it easier, I think. Come on. Okay, let me get this clip in there and then I'll tighten it up all the way. Okay, that one's tight. I'm gonna see if I can use this pry bar to press the pedal to see if any fluid comes out of the back of the master. There we go. Made a little bit of a mess down here, but at least now the fluid's flowing. Okay. Okay, that one's tight. Now I'm gonna see if I have a plug for that one right there, because I don't want to make this brake line right this minute. I just want to see if I can get the fronts to work. Okay, I didn't have a plug for it, but I have this piece of brake line with the fitting on it, and the end of it's crimped, and an adapter to make it fit into this thread. So we'll run that one in there, and then this one into this one. There we go. Let's get these fittings back in here. The pry bar and try to pump the brakes up a little bit and see if we can't get some fluid to come up to the front. Yeah, it's still full. I'm gonna try the vacuum breather again, see if I can get some fluid to pull through. There's just too much air for it to push all the fluid out. Hopefully this will help suck the air out and get some fluid to it. Got a little fluid out of that one. I'm gonna try the other one now. That one's pulling quite a bit through. Okay. Make sure we still have some fluid in there. I want to pull it all out. It's definitely getting low. I can actually pump the pedal by hand from under the car. That's pretty nice. I don't have to keep going up and down to check the pedal. And that one's got some good fluid coming out there. So I think like that, the brakes will at least work enough to pull the car in and out. All right, let's go ahead and put the fresh oil on this thing before I forget. Perfect, right on the money. All right, let's open up these plug wires here and see what we got. So I gotta crimp the ends onto these. And I think I'm just gonna go through one at a time, pull it off the car, bring it over here, cut it to length, and then just do it like that. I can keep them in the right order and make sure the exact length and everything. So I don't believe these are cut to length. They seem way longer than they need to be. And I guess I'll start with the coil one. Do that one first. Okay, let's go ahead and get this one here cut. Okay, grab my strippers. Alright, so I got this cut just a little longer than the original one. So then I can strip this off. And then it exposes the little wire. And you fold that over and put it inside your little new fitting. And then you got to bend the fitting over to crimp it on. There we go. And there's the fitting. Then you can slide the boot over. And there's one end done. There we go. And that one's all done. And that's the one for our coil. And there's that one. And it's nice, these ones already have the spark plug end already on there, so you just gotta do the coil pack side. Feed this back through here, up to our number 1, I believe, on the plug. And then the other end, take the next one off. I'm just gonna go through the rest of these, get them done. I'm not gonna waste time trying to film all of it. So let me get all these knocked out real quick. Okay, got all the plug wires on there. Let me tighten this coil bracket back down. Okay. Now do all the spark plugs. Alright, let's pull these out. We got our new plugs here. Just got some regular AC Delco copper core. Alright, we got all the plugs in there. All the wires are all made and done. Still got my sweet zip tie coil mount. I got the oil put in. Oil level's good. So I'm just going to go top off the brake fluid, put the cap back on, and then I'll see if I have a pedal in here or not. Let me get up in here. I spilled a bunch. Oh well. Cap back on. I also forgot the ratchet to tighten this too. So hand tight it is. Pedal's got something. It's definitely not bled all the way, but it's got some pressure. It doesn't go all the way to the floor anymore. It gets firm about halfway up, so that's good. All right, I'm gonna get this door cracked open so I don't smoke myself out. And then we'll see how she fires up with fresh oil, plugs, wires. Make sure I did everything right. Reach to the door here and get the key. Fires right up, no issues. Still running a little fat, black smoke coming out a little bit. And once it warms up a little more, the idle jumps a little more and doesn't sound like it's stalling the whole time. There we go. All right. Now I'm curious to see if the clutch and the shifter work. So I'm gonna put this down, see if I can't climb in there and see if it'll fire up and move forward and back a little bit. All right, got it fired up. Only problem is this headliner is like touching my head. But clutch seems to be working. Pedal's got half a pedal there. Throw in reverse. She's working. Pedal's sticking a little bit there. But she's moving. Alright, let's throw it down in first. Try to not hit my truck. Pedal keeps sticking. Alright, pop out this thing. Let it run for a minute out here since it's so smoky. Alright, let's try to take this thing around the block with my non-existent brakes and the pedal that was kind of sticking. Seems okay now though. Hit the gas hard, it'll stop sticking. Let's try second gear. There we go. Yeah, if you don't press the pedal hard enough, the pedal sticks. So you gotta hit it past the point and then it will pull back up. smooth. Now let's hopefully it can stop smooth. Go too fast on these sketchy tires. And we'll just roll through this stop sign here because it's on a hill. Yeah, I can feel one of the tires getting like out of round. The car's starting to shake a bunch. Limp her back to the shop before we lose a tire. The suspension's like an old tuna boat, nice and soft. Super bouncy up in the front. I'm not used to the no power brakes and the no power steering. It's gonna be something to get used to. The old truck I built's got power brakes and power steering and all that. So this will definitely take some adjusting to drive it around town. And not to mention I only have front brakes right now. Inside here, there we go. Pedal's still a little sticky. That's awesome. See this thing sitting in a field for 20 plus years just a few weeks ago. Now she drives on her own power and we didn't lose any tires. You can get a good look at the floors in here. Pretty gone. But I think I'm able to buy some floors for this thing or buy the panels. I can be able to weld them in. Then I'll pull the seats out and try to shampoo the seat, get some moisture back in the fabric or something to get it a little softer because it just feels brittle and I'm afraid to tear it up. The rear seat's about the same way. On the bottom looks fine, but the back is ripped. Well, that's freaking awesome getting to drive it. I think that'll pretty much be it for this video. I was able to get a few things done. I got the coils, the plugs, messed with the brakes a bit, put the battery in, whatnot. Yeah, I got the fuel tank and whatever in there. Probably a week of filming this stuff after work every day, and then today, Saturday, able to get a few more hours in on it. So I still got a lot to do to be able to really drive it around town and not be too worried about it. And I got this whole trunk full of parts in here I gotta go through and see what we got, as well as the parts car. It's got a bunch of stuff in it too. I need to go through that. But yeah, this thing's been fun to work on. Super cool, super fun to drive so far. 3 on the tree is kind of weird to get used to. Never done that before in my life, so it's very interesting. But yeah, I think that'll do it for this video. Thank you guys for checking it out, and don't forget to check out my last video I just did of my truck and just showing the truck off and whatnot. And then yeah, I think maybe next week we'll get a video on the car pulling the turbo apart or pulling the turbo manifold apart and fixing that so we can get back out and go drifting. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. See ya.